The purpose of this video is not to share with you the ultimate HDR settings for Cyberpunk 2077. I just want to use this game as an example to share with you the most important shaders I'm going to be using moving forward to fix HDR gaming and to make the games look the way I want. Okay? And I think this is why it is so important for you to mess around with this stuff, because you can make the games look the way you like them. And if you just want to, keep a little bit of the creator's intent and the color grading, and you actually like a little bit of that green push or yellowish white balance, or you want more visibility near black or a higher color saturation, or you need more peak brightness for your display, or an average brightness of the whole game to be higher, you can change that so you can make the games look the way you like them. You do not have to depend on the developers, okay? Because it is very unlikely they are going to give you what you want, okay? And I know what I want. So I share that with you, but I'm going to share not only the settings I'm using for Cyberpunk. I want to show you, explain you that these shaders that we have now available. And of course, most of these options have been here with us for a very long time. But the thing is, with Reshade, you have so many options that it is overwhelming. And it's almost impossible to be a master of everything, okay? I don't believe anyone can do that. Just know everything, how to 100% reshade it, because it's just crazy. It's so many things that you can do. And I am not an expert by any means. I just like to try these things to get the results that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna share that with you. So as you can see here, let's do some before and after. So you can see what we're talking about. Of course, my camera cannot capture what I see in front of me, but I'm going to rely on my description to tell you what's going on. But we have also this HDR analysis tool, which you can check out. Right now, as you can see, we have perfect black floor. And if I disable what I have going on here with Reshade, as you can see here, the only thing that's enabled is that HDR analysis tool. You can see that the black floor is raised. Now everything looks green, okay, which I hate so much. I don't understand why these developers do this to their games. It's just so terrible, in my opinion. It looks green, yellow, it's like piss all over the screen. It's absolutely terrible. So let's do this. So as you can see here, this is before. So what I'm doing, so you understand, I'm doing this. I'm pressing, I have a hotkey for each shader. So I'm doing this, and I'm enabling all of them. So I'm doing this. See, I do it quickly. See? So 1, 2, 3, 4, basically. So I'm doing it off and on. So this is before, after. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so let's go. Before, look at that crap. After. Okay, let's get the HDR analysis tool out of the way. Before, after. This is so much better, bro. It's not even close. And of course, the in-game settings matter. Let me show you that. And I'm going to also show you during the daytime, because we have to make sure that it looks very good at night. Near black, mid-tones, highlights during the day, everything needs to look good, because sometimes we fix something but then something else looks messed up. Okay, so let me show you the in-game settings too, because that's important. And I'm gonna go through the shaders to share with you what I am doing here. So I have the in-game peak brightness maxed out. That is to prevent the game from doing any tone mapping. And of course, this looks blown out on camera because of the camera settings. I'm trying to show you near black, so things that are bright are going to look blown out. I will change the camera settings to show you the daytime. And then I keep this tone mapping midpoint in 2 because we're fixing everything with reshade, okay? So basically, I don't want the game tone mapping system to do anything. Just keep everything the way it is, and we'll take care of it with reshade. So now let's go through. Well, before we go there, let's do that. I'll show you what I'm doing here, and then I'll show you some daytime examples. So now here, the only thing that I am holding back is the peak brightness, especially when I show you the daytime. It is so difficult for my camera to show you what's going on without crushing the blacks a lot. So I am either clipping the highlights or crushing the blacks, and it's so difficult to show you a fair representation of what I'm seeing in front of me. So I am reducing the peak brightness a lot and reducing the brightness of the TV itself too, so my camera can at least show you something closer to what I see in front of me. So here's what's going on. I am using this new shader that I discovered. It was in front of me all this time, but I never tried it before. But I discovered this yesterday. This PROD8001B RT Correct Color shader. Okay, so this shader is part of the PD80 shaders. Very easy. You download Reshade and it will be an option during the installation process of Reshade, as well as the Lilium HDR shaders. So you just have to check those. And this Deband shader is gonna be there by default. So I'm also using that to reduce color banding, because this shader works for SDR. So I believe it is causing color banding because it is SDR. So it would be awesome if Lilium can figure out the HDR version of this shader. I'll see if I can reach out to him and ask him if that's possible, because that might fix the color banding, so we don't have to use this color banding fix, which is very demanding in performance. So we are losing frames a lot to eliminate the color banding. So let's see if we can reach out to Lilium, because he's the man when it comes to HDR and all these shaders. Or maybe the creator of this shader can do the same for HDR. It would be awesome. We definitely need that. So I am using this first shader to fix the near black and the color grading of the game. So I am removing the tints. That's what this shader is doing. It is removing that yellow, green color tint all over the screen. So now the order matters. When you use Reshade, the order of the shaders matters a lot. It is crucial that we have the right order. So the first thing that I want to do is correct the color grading. Then I'm going to fix color banding. Then I'm gonna use this PROD8003 curved levels to increase the visibility near black as much as I want. And then lastly, I am using Lilium's tone mapping to get the peak brightness that I'm looking for depending on the TV I am using. Okay? So that's the order, and it is very important. And of course, the HDR analysis tool would go last so it can see what's going on. See? Because if I put the HDR analysis tool, for example, before this PROD8003 curved levels, it's not going to see what this is doing. Okay? So it is very, very important, the order. It changes. If you change the order, you will see how the picture changes. But feel free to try different orders. Maybe this is not the best way. I'm still learning and trying new things. So that's what we're doing. Let me go through the shaders. So this first one, PD8001B RT correct color shader. With this one, I just turn it on. I use this enable time-based fade, and I reduce the speed of that. So basically what this does is it is dynamically fixing the color grading to give you a neutral white balance to remove the tint that these games have. And it does that dynamically because the game is pushing those tints depending on what's going on the scene. So the game dynamically has this color grading mess. So when you go near black, it suddenly is green. And then when you go outside, suddenly it's kind of yellow. It's way too warm. And it looks like piss all over the screen. So this shader is gonna change that. But the problem is, if you see the change happening immediately, it is very distracting because it's going to look like a flickering. It's gonna be very distracting. So testing this, I find out that for me, the best thing is to reduce the speed so it happens as a slow transition. And actually the games do that. When you're playing a game, I've seen this on almost every single game because they design the color grading of these games thinking on SDR. So with SDR, you have to like adjust the camera settings. Like what I'm going to be doing when I show you the daytime, I have to change my camera settings, the exposure and the shutter speed, so my camera can capture what's going on, because even when I am recording on HDR, my camera doesn't have all the range to show you everything. So it has to pick, what do you want? Do you want to show highlights, midtones, or near black? So these games are, SDR minded, like this, the way they are being designed. And to show you near black, then they have to raise things. It's like raising the ISO or the gain of your camera. Then you go to the brightness and they have to lower that so it doesn't look blown out. So there is like an automatic adjustment to show you the picture. And when you apply that idea to HDR, it's a mess because it's not necessary. With HDR, we can see near black consistently. You can go outside and show me that brightness. You don't have to be adjusting the signal. And I think that's what's going on. They are adjusting this thing, thinking, see, on SDR, you have to do that adjustment. But on HDR, you don't have to. On HDR, you have perfect blacks. If you have a self-emissive display like an OLED, and you can clearly see details below 1 nit. Actually, you can see details below 0.05 nits. I've seen it in games where I only see just a very tiny signal, and I can clearly see everything that's going on there. That's HDR. Okay, and these developers, they have this SDR, it seems, mentality, or maybe because they are not, here's the thing, they are not even working on the HDR. It's like an SDR to HDR conversion. So this is what they work on, SDR, then they just turn on HDR from the engine or something. So you have a higher bit rate, 10 bits and all of that, and the BD2020 color space, and call it a day. They are not designing the game from the ground up to be HDR. This is not necessary on HDR, and it looks terrible, in my opinion, because it's not only the color filter, it's the black floor race for no reason. And this looks terrible on an OLED, especially when you have a dark scene. So I'm doing this. So I'm keeping the visibility near black, removing that color tint, and it just looks so much better. So this shader is awesome because it is changing dynamically. But that change, you don't want that to be immediately because it's gonna look like flickering. So that's why I use this enable time-based fade. It's like fading into the different, basically it is adjusting the color grading and the white balance dynamically, but you don't want that change to be very fast because then you're gonna notice that and it's gonna be annoying. So I lower the speed to 0.01 and I think that's working very well. I've been playing Jedi and also Cyberpunk, testing it, and I think it is very, very good. Now, if you have a game that is not changing the color grading all the time and it just has a tint that you want to remove and it's very consistent, you don't see changes, then you don't need this dynamic adjustment. You can just freeze the correction. So you let it run and then you check this box that says freeze correction and you're good to go. That's gonna be better for those games. Then we also have the ability to do the correction for the black point, the midtones, and midpoints, black point, and the white point, basically. So you can individually decide what you want to do. So what I'm doing here, for example, this is something that you have to test game by game. But what I'm doing here is I am respecting Luma. So respect Luma, this checkbox. It's like trying to keep the same brightness that the game has, but not for the black floor. For the black floor, I do not want to respect Luma. Because if I do this, what happens is that it is going to keep the same black level rays, but it's just gonna remove the color filter, basically. And I don't want to do that. I want to fix also the black level rays. This is still gonna look better because it's removing that green tint, but I want to basically correct that black level rays, so that's why I don't respect Luma here for the black point. But for the rest of them, on this game specifically, I am, and I think it is the way to go. Now, the other thing you can do is for this white point correction and for the rest of them, you can, tweak the intensity. Okay, so if you just want to correct a little bit, you don't want to completely remove the green tint, you still want it to look a little bit green, okay? You can reduce the effect a little bit with these sliders that we have. But for the most part, that's all I am tweaking here. The other thing you can do is to enable this high performance mode. This is something I have to test more. But I believe what this is gonna do is to eliminate the dynamic component. So it's just gonna be, for example, for games that don't change, you're gonna freeze the correction so it's consistent, and you can then enable this high performance mode. But this is something I have to test more to see if it is useful and we can get those frames back, some of them. So this is very, very important. It's absolutely amazing, this shader. Then the other one I'm using, which is part of this PD80 shaders, is this PD8003 curved levels. And this one, I like to use it to increase the visibility near black. And what I do is I enable this curve contrast visualize. So I just type in 1. And this gives me a reference of what I am doing. So the reference is this diagonal line. So all the changes I do here with the shoulder position X and Y and toe position X and Y, I see the change I did. So basically what I did was to increase the visibility near black and then try to not affect too much the midtones. So I increase the visibility near black using toe position X and Y. So I lower the toe position X and then I increase the toe position Y a little bit. In this case, toe position X 0.04, toe position Y 0.105. Usually here I use like 0.03 and 0.05 or 0.06 or 8. I don't do too much, but in this example I wanted to get more visibility near black, so it is closer to the original one when it comes to visibility near black, which is very impressive because even when we are fixing the black floor, see, we're fixing the black floor and this is brighter. Definitely, the original is brighter. When I do this, it is still darker, but it is perfectly visible. And it is more visible when you remove all that cloudy look from the game. So that's how I use this one. Then I am using this Deband shader to remove color banding, but I will show you this one better during the daytime, which is where you can see the color banding issue. So I'll show you that during the daytime. Then the other thing I'm using is this Lilium's tone mapping to get the maximum peak brightness that I'm looking for, which in this case, for this S90C, which is modded on the service menu to get 1500 nits, which I'm gonna show you all the settings, but I had to interrupt the settings for these TVs because I discovered this thing and I think it is very important to share this information. But I'll show you all the settings for the S90C. So I just do this and get 1500 nits. So this maximum input luminance is the maximum peak brightness that the game is trying to output after you use all these shaders and you have all the in-game settings, the peak brightness max out and all of that. I use the HDR analysis tool to see, okay, what is the tone mapping without using Lilium's HDR tone mapping, and the maximum here is like 4700. Okay, so then that's what I input here on the Lilium's tone mapping. 4800 here, maximum input luminance 4800, and then the target is what I'm looking for, which in this case is like 1500 nits. So that's what I do, but in this case I'm going to cut 1000 nits to see if I can show you this on the recording a little bit better. And I also turn off the peak brightness of this TV because it is so bright I cannot show you this game well at all. So that's it. Let me show you now the daytime. I'm going to change the camera settings so I can show you that, and I'll show you the color banding. So this is the daytime, and let me go and show you some before and after. So again, peak brightness is capped right now to like below 500 nits, but as you can see here, we're getting perfect blacks. Let me show you some before and after here. This is before. So as you can see here, it looks completely blown out because it is too much brightness for the tone mapping of my TV. So right now it's like 3900 nits and my TV is clipping at 500. That's why it looks so messed up. So it is really not possible to show you. And on camera it's also gonna look messed up because of the camera settings are adjusted for this. But the difference is, well, basically if I do this, let me do this. Let me disable everything but turn on the tone mapping. Yeah, so let's do that. So with the tone mapping, I am not changing, so I'm keeping the same peak brightness and everything. So as you can see here right now, 454. Okay, so in that way, what I'm gonna do is just to change the color grading, basically. So as you can see here, this is after, this will be before. Okay, so before, after, before, after. Such a huge difference, man. It's absolutely unbelievable that they believe this looks good. This is yellow, it's piss all over the screen. It's absolutely terrible, absolutely terrible. Look at this thing, before. So you can see here, the only thing I'm using is the tone mapping. After, so you can see here, everything is enabled. So now let me show you, let me see if I can show you the color banding issue. If I disable this Deband, which is to remove the color banding. Let me see if you can see this on camera. This is clear color banding here. Actually, let me reduce the brightness here a lot. Yeah, you can see it there. So you can see this clear band of color. Now the reason why that's happening is because this PROD8001 BRT correct color. If I turn it off, the color banding goes away. And yeah, that is not great. But I can fix it with that Deband. So if I show you, I'm gonna be turning it on and off. See, this is on, off. So off, you can see the color banding. On is completely gone. Again, off, on, completely gone. Color banding, no color banding. Color banding, gone. See? Turning it on and off. So yeah, the thing is that cost performance. So if I look at the GPU utilization, I have 60 FPS locked right now. If I turn it off, the GPU utilization, let me see, right now it is off. GPU utilization goes up, actually not too much, just 2%. Oh, that's not too bad. See? Let me get this out of the, that's not too bad. I thought it was more than that. So right now, 73% GPU utilization, 74, 72, 73. If I turn it off, it goes down to 72%. Well, that's actually insignificant in this example. That's insignificant, just 2%. That's not a big deal. Now this one, this PROD8001B RT correct color, it does affect performance a lot. If I turn it off right now, I am going from 73% utilization down to 62%. So that's more than 10% performance hit by using that. So that is definitely very significant. And yeah, you can fix that. You can fix that performance hit, but probably you're going to it's not gonna be dynamic anymore. So if I enable this high performance mode with a 1, let's see, from 73% to 66%. So the performance improved a lot to the point where this is only now costing like 4%. So you're reducing the performance hit from like 11% to 3 or 4%. But then it no longer works the way we want this to work. So yeah, but I'm still going to give it a try and see if that helps with performance and I can still get the effect that I'm looking for. I am also going to play around with this precision level from 0 to 4. Maybe by reducing the precision level, you can get better performance. But yeah, that's where we are right now with this. I'll keep trying it and see if I can squeeze, more performance while still getting the same picture quality. And it is nighttime already. I forgot to adjust the camera settings again, so this looks kind of crushed. Okay, so it is nighttime. Let me increase this a little bit more. And as you can see, man, the game looks absolutely amazing. Like, this is so much better than vanilla. It's not even close. This is absolutely amazing, especially when I get all the brightness here, this TV is looking amazing, by the way. I'll show you all the settings on the service menu to get all the brightness. This is like, wow. And the screen uniformity of this Samsung S90C is absolutely insane, God tier. It is, I think, that makes me have a feeling that this TV is closer to perfection than what I was expecting, because the uniformity of the screen is like all the time. It is something that I can see all the time for all the content, especially near black. So yeah, this is looking absolutely spectacular. Everything pops, and I can see near black very well. So you can see here inside this tunnel. Yeah, I can see very well. I can see the outside, and this looks awesome. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you've been playing around with this new shaders that we've been discovering, I will keep, of course, trying this in different games. But my goal is not to share with you, the settings for one game. I think that is not very important. I think the most important thing is that you try these things yourself to get the results that you want, that you like. And also, once you learn how to use these tools, you can fix the games you play, because I don't play every single game. Some people are asking me, hey, you should try to fix Stalker, for example. I don't think I'm gonna play that game. It runs very, very bad. I don't think it's playable on my PC. The performance is terrible. So, and also you might be playing an indie game that you want to fix and nobody else is playing. So you definitely want to learn how to use all these tools to make the games look the way you want. Wow, this 5K -1 thing on the car is so bright. Wow, let me see how bright that is. Yeah, it is popping. It is popping bright. Look, it is right here. It's like 1300 nits. That's awesome. It just looks amazing. This uniformity of this is just fantastic. So I'm enjoying these TVs. I'll share all the settings. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.